up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the Hot Corner. I am your host, Dorian Zavala, and I'm always with Matt. Matt, say what up.
Dude, this has been an awesome week of sports.
It was.
What a weekend. This was, I don't know. Now that you have second week Pac-12's back, everything feels right.
Right? But it's
right.
getting shut down, though. Like, a bunch of schools are getting shut down. Well, not shut down, but their games are getting canceled because of COVID and everything. So right when we think we're getting back to normalcy, this little thing just keeps popping up its rear head, its ugly ass head. But it is what it is. Let's get it started. As we always do, idiot of the week. Matt, take over.
Yeah, so for my idiot of the week, it's going to be Trevor Bauer. So Trevor Bauer made a bet with his friend when he first got first got drafted, maybe around 2011, 2012, somewhere early in his career, where he said his friend could shoot him in the nuts from 10 feet away with a paintball gun if he ever signed a long-term deal. So as the story goes with his career, it was a little bit rocky here and there on the on the Indians and a little bit on the Diamondbacks as well. But he just won the Cy Young, and now it's times for the big checks and no more signing one-year deals. So I feel really bad because for the financial state of his nards, he might just have to take that shot. They say health is wealth, but right now I debunk that statement. Health is not wealth for the state of his nuts.
Yo, you think that's why he's doing one-year deals?
No, that's exactly why. It's confirmed.
Oh, that's exactly why he's doing.
Yeah, no, that's why he literally does one-year deals. Is because he was on a podcast with Jeff Passan, who's the main writer for Yahoo Sports and ESPN, and that's why he. But then this year, the deal he denied was 1 year, $18.5 million. So his nuts are looking not like a day to be nuts.
No, you know what though? I didn't hear about this, but what I keep hearing, all the writers and the insiders, they're all talking about how he takes 1 year deals because it's the best way he can maximize his money at that moment, instead of signing a long-term deal and getting some money now and then the rest of it towards the end of it. It's I'm getting paid, X much amount of millions of dollars for a year. And if it works out, I'll stay here and sign another year. And if it doesn't, I pop out and leave. So, yeah, I don't know how. I don't know, man. How it's I don't know how that's gonna work out for him. But the dude deserves a long-term deal. The dude won the Cy Young this year. He's a beast, man. He's such a beast. I don't know what do you say?
Yeah, no, he definitely deserves a long-term deal. And it's he's been so up and down throughout his career. We're is this going to be a lightning in a bottle season? I don't think he's ever, granted, 60 games. We don't know what the season's going to look like next year, but definitely not going to have another 60-game season. So it's is this just a really good stretch? But yeah, so now I want to see what your idiot of the week is.
Well, I had an idiot of the week going, but it just, honestly, this one just popped in my head, and I'm just going to go right out and say it. And it's Clay Helton and the USC Trojans. How in the world do you want to compete for a national championship and a playoff position, but you're struggling against Arizona and Arizona State, teams that you should be beating by double digits? You're winning by a field goal at the last couple seconds of the game. It's not fun. They're not. I knew to begin with this was probably going to be a wash year and just not count or anything like that, because I think they're only playing 7 games, 8 games this or less.
Yeah, they're only playing the South Conference.
Yeah, I think it's only 6 games. So right away we knew this was going to be a wash, but at the same time, you want to see this team win. You want to see this team be on top, be where it always has been, when it was with God, I forgot his name from
Pete Carroll.
There you go. How it was with Pete Carroll, with Sarks. Damn, even Lane Kiffin.
Before he was drunk.
Before he was drunk. even Lane Kiffin before he got tarmac, that they were doing well. They were competing for for to be at the top for national championship recognition. But ever since Clay Helms has taken over, it's like, oh, let's hope we make it to the Rose Bowl. I mean, is that really an SC tradition? Let's hope we make it to the Rose Bowl. It's not something I'm happy about, and honestly, it's just
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that any USC fan is really happy about, considering that where things were. But as far as like the reason why, I mean, part of college football I love way more than, or just one of the differences why I love college football versus the NFL is that recruiting is the biggest part of it. Recruiting is such a big part, and Clay Helton has not produced great recruiting classes. Like we're able to get 5 stars with like Amon Ra and JT Daniels and Bruce McCoy.
Or if he does get them, they leave. Like he got Amon St. Ra, and then he left because it was like, this I don't like this coach. I don't like it. But for some reason he came back. Awesome, he came back.
Yeah. So that was weird. But I don't know. It's one of those things where USC has relied on the modern day connection for so long, and that's even going back to like the Matt Leinart days. So heading forward, it's like there's so many good. Like, how hard is it to sell somebody on USC? Like, literally, how hard is it?
It shouldn't be, but right now it is with that bald-headed idiot running the show. Yeah, of course. I mean, you got to understand too. Yes, they have their athletes that go out there and they help recruit, but their ultimate recruiters were Ed Orgeron and Sarkisian, and they're gone. They're gone. And if you notice, since they left, heck, even Lane Kiffin was doing great. But since they left, we can't get those big dudes to officially be like, all right, I'm just going to SC, forget everybody else. Now you hear all the top recruits out there, they're like, well, yeah, SC is one of my schools, but I still want to go play like at Arizona State, or I want to go play at Alabama. Or I'm thinking about Clemson. And it's kind of like, what's going on? We used to have these boys on lock and like they're coming over, and now it's, well, we're one of the choices, which is, I mean, it's still not bad because you're still getting looked at, which is good, because not being looked at would be worse. But I don't know, man. I'm not liking the way this program is headed. One thing I will say is this: Penn State, keep losing, because I'm pretty sure if you keep losing, James Franklin is going to get fired. And that would be a heck of a replacement for these dudes, man. That would be a great replacement. But let's talk about the game against Arizona. What did you think about that game?
It was painful. Like it was painful to where it was a very entertaining game. USC came through, but God, the first half, like once again, there was just nothing. There was absolutely nothing there for USC fans to be happy about. And it's kind of a classic thing where it's like we get a new offensive coordinator, Graham Harrell, who last year with the air raid, it definitely worked to a big extent. And Keaton Slovis was excelled tremendously in it.
Right.
But this year it's not working. It seems like a lot of the veterans of the offense that know it pretty well is going to be from the running backs with like Malapai, with Stephen Carr.
Right.
And with Marquise Stepp, like those are the guys, it seems like, where our strengths are. And it is kind of frustrating when we're not able to get guys like Amon Ra super, super involved in the game.
Right.
And this was a lucky, like, this is not a game where you walk away from, you're like, wow, now I'm looking forward to next week. Now it's like one of those things where you're on eggshells heading forward.
Exactly right. And it's one of those things where you're sitting pretty at 2-0 and going like, damn, we're about to tear through this conference, and now you're 2-0 and going, are we gonna be 3-0, or does a dream die this weekend? It's pathetic, man. I hate it as a diehard SC fan. This isn't what I grew up watching. This isn't where the level of the program where it's supposed to be, and they need to get it together, and they need to get it together quick, or else they're just going to start losing players left and right, man. It is what it is.
What do you think? Oh, no, what do you say?
What do you think?
As far as the losing players things, I don't know, because another negative part about being in the Pac-12 is that when it comes to the state of games, like Pac-12 is the last conference to join, some guys are literally just going to walk away just because of the Pac-12. It has nothing to do with USC. So one other thing I thought was funny about USC now is that there's a crap ton of Polynesian players. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, the ability to memorize names is so much harder because all of them are just synonyms of each other.
And man, all I know is I just know them as big fella because they're all huge, bro. They're all built like freaking refrigerators, man. Just amazing. But I mean, I know we're talking about pumping up SC and that's our squad, but I gotta give it up to Gunner, man. He he
Mhm.
he he played a great game for Arizona. That's a quarterback that if they put him in right positions and take care of him, he's gonna get that team eventually
Yeah,
to a better place.
yeah. Like I would say that's a game Arizona should have won. Like
Yeah,
that's not one of those things. Like Arizona really outplayed USC.
you could say that
Yeah,
about last week's game against Arizona State as well.
yeah, exactly. Like this, it is like I said, it's every week is walking on eggshells. Like I would say, which is kind of weird. It felt like USC was kind of always like ready to just burst and like go off against ASU, but with this one against Arizona, um, just there was just nothing there. Like the defense really did at times struggle, and it was one of those. This was things that they're good enough to keep okay teams in the game. I think that's all they'll be, is like good enough to keep okay teams in the game. But they don't play Oregon this year. But I think if they played Oregon, it would be like somewhere around 40-20.
Well, we might play them if they make the championship. It might be Oregon because I mean, you really think Stanford might do
No, I
something?
mean I'm just worried about USC getting there. Not even worried about
Yeah, let's
Oregon.
not even look that far yet, right?
I mean, that's what I'm saying, is that like if this team were to go 6-2, it would not surprise me. But if they were to go like, I don't know, for me it's like 4-4 is like being as objectively as possible. I think that's where is going. But I mean, just while we're on the topic of bad LA teams, at least two of the three that, or yeah, so two of the three that we're going to talk about today, the Chargers. I mean, where do we go from there?
Ooh. Uh, Look, man, Anthony Lynn seems like a great person from watching the HBO show Hard Knocks. The dude
That's a
want
little skewed. Like
it.
that is
It
it is
is.
kind of a pump up.
It is. But you can tell the dude actually cares about his players. You know, he wants them to succeed. But it's hard, man. When the players are battling for you and you're battling for them, and it just crumbles and falls apart at the end of every game. Like, what they lose by this time? 4 points?
Lost by 8.
Oh, by 8 this time?
Yeah, 29-21.
Oof. I mean, that hurts, man. That hurts. But I mean, I say this. I think you can't get rid of Anthony Lynn right now because who are you gonna put in place? I mean, are you gonna just quit the season now and just like screw it, whatever? We'll bring in one of these coordinators, and then you start looking at like Herbert getting into like situations that he shouldn't be in because some other coach with a different philosophy is gonna come in and do that. Like I think at this point, you let Lynn finish out the season. You give him his walking papers at the end of it, and you look for somebody outside of the house. You
Yeah.
don't look within the house like, nah. You go look for somebody. You know who I think they should go get is the I think is the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs.
No, I mean that's who everybody wants.
Yeah, right.
Moloney.
Yeah, and throw the damn check at him, bro. That's at this point, you have a quarterback and you have a great defense. You get Derwin James back next season. You know that dude is a difference maker. You can tell right away how much they need him in that defense. So you get him back. You get a coach that's going to be able to work with Herbert and get better. And not only that, but you need an offensive line to open holes, because he's throwing great, but they have no runners. Granted, Eckler's hurt and Joshua Kelly's hurt. So,
Oh no, Justin Jackson.
Justin Jackson. I'm sorry. Justin Jackson's hurt. And, so they're missing those guys too. So it's a lot of injuries with these guys too. But, I mean, at this point, you just let Anthony Lynn finish out the season. And afterwards, you give him his walking papers and you let him be on his way. But I don't think Anthony Lynn's going to be out of a job for a long time. I think that dude will get picked up as an offensive coordinator or a running backs coach real quick because he can coach. It's just, being a head coach is a whole nother game, and I don't think he was great at it. I don't think it suited him, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, this past game was a little bit frustrating for him because like the way they start off is the botched punt, and then so I was right out like a 3-and-out. They botched the punt. Miami takes it to the 1 yard line, then they run it in, so that's 7-0. And then Chargers have they have a couple first downs and then punt away to back to the Dolphins, and the Dolphins score on like 8 plays to make it 14-0. So like at the end of the first quarter, but it was a complete there was it was literally a silver platter. There you go. Like if you want the game, just catch it. Yeah. Just catch it. And as far kind of reading up on the post-game press conferences, it's kind of this is a quote from or what Justin Herbert was talking about. He was saying going into the game, you're like, yeah, we're just going to run the ball on early downs. Oh, I know what to do. Run it with the guy who literally just picked up off the street. While we're on ASU pride, Kalen Ballage. But why would you go with your weakness? You have the strength there with Herbert, and he going into the even I think let me see around the fourth quarter before he had that touchdown, he and Allen only had 2 targets or 2 catches, excuse me. So they're not getting. It's just get the ball to your playmakers. I know it's such a cliche thing to say, but why would you give it to the guy who's not doing anything? Right. Well, how does that make any sense? Is he just this is one of those things where it's yes, the player is playing for him, but does he have dementia? Does he just is dumb and forgets Austin Eckler isn't in the game?
Right.
Is that something you forgot? You just grabbed the wrong binder. It's instead of week 10 binder, I'm going to pick up the week 1 binder.
Honestly, to his defense, he's messing up completely. Just the way he's doing his game plans.
That punt was not on him. That first touchdown. No, take that way. That was 100% on
the plan. But the game plan itself. That was the best game plan you can come up with. Really, against a rookie, when you have your defense going and they can get at the quarterback, that's the best you can come up with as a plan. It's not working out. It's just, it's not. But to Miami, man, Tua, man, Tua's just, he's doing enough. He's not going out of his way to try and be spectacular. He's taking what the defense is giving him, and that is exactly what the coaches want. It's working out over there, and congrats to them, man. They made the choice to make the change. What was it, 3 weeks ago? Yeah, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's their game.
And it's working out, and it's working out great. But it's not all Tua. It's that damn defense, man. Wow,
it's a good defense.
It is.
Ogba's nice. Van Ginkel, Van Noy.
That what? I'm surprised that Van Noy is in Miami. I for some reason thought he was still in New England. But that's
the Brian Flores connection.
Yeah. That's why he went over there. But also the same thing. It's I don't think New England was gonna pay him the money that he was looking for. New England doesn't pay anybody. They got Cam on $1 million contract, so those dudes just don't pay anybody. But let's move on now to my team, the Rams, and spectacular game. All around this it looks like McVay took the extra week to actually put a formidable game plan against these guys, knowing that this is a terrible passing defense. He went and he used the running game to open up that defense, which is amazing. And honestly, the standout, like Goff had a great game, defense had a great game, but honestly, the standout of that was our three-headed monster, Akers, Brown, and Henderson. Damn, bro, like they are balling and they are fresh. They're just chugging along and everything.
Yeah, I mean, with a backfield like that, there isn't a dominant guy. So it was really, I think it was awkward last year when you have Gurley, who is the number one, who is, I mean, that's going to be a first couple rounds in any fantasy league. Like that is the guy, and that's a great running back. So what McVay was trying to do last year didn't make sense with the roster they had.
No.
So now you take the same kind of mentality into this year, and you spread it all around.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you said earlier, like it opens up the play action. It's that simple. McVay loves the play action.
Yeah.
So for like that works if you have a great running game. So when you have a great running game, it's simple enough. Like linebackers creep up, and then it opens up things downfield. And I was pretty much going into this thinking McVay was going to outsmart himself. But now the other question it brings up is like, how good are the Seahawks? Like, are the Seahawks going to be is that going to be a second half crash? Because going into your going in before the season, they had pretty much all their games. I saw a stat where them and the Chargers have all their games decided, and the Chiefs have all their games decided by one score.
Wow.
So you flip that around, and it's like, oh yeah, the Chargers are 1-8, 1-9, and then the Seahawks are I think they've only lost a couple games.
They're 6-3. So
yeah,
3 teams at 6-3, and we are going to talk about that. I mean, we're going to gloss through it. We won't go into it much, but that catch by DeAndre, we'll get to that. But no, the game was great. The play calls were great. The game was awesome. Here's where my problem is with this team, and it's the quarterback. Jared Goff, to me, I don't know if some days he's like right on point and he's got everything moving how it's supposed to go. And then there's like yesterday where he had 3 delay of game calls. 3. He could have had 4, but McVay called the timeout and saved his ass. So he had 3. I have no idea what's going on right there, why it's taking forever for him to get the play. I understood 2 years ago when they went to the Super Bowl and they were doing the whole, he's got 15 seconds where they're still talking to him before the microphone shuts off in the helmet. And then, by then he has the time. I don't know if they're still babying him like that, or if it's finally or if it was like an audio issue that they were having. But those instances are bad. The other thing too is when he's dropping back, he needs to get the ball out quicker. Like he's just standing there for a little bit and just waiting. It's like, bro, if there's nothing there, you've got the legs. Get out of the pocket and go. Take care of that football. But I mean, he's always wide with it. He's sometimes careless with it. And then, it's also the hand size. He's got one of the smallest hands for a quarterback in the NFL right now. So it's also that, like, his hands aren't big enough to hold on to that ball when they grip it. But then again, it is 350-pound monsters clobbering at you trying to get that ball out. It's going to come out. But, he's got these mistakes that he's got to shore up. When he does, because I believe at some point in this season he will, this team's going to be a lot more dangerous than people think it is now, because this defense isn't going anywhere. And Leonard Floyd, my God, what a pickup. What a pickup by that guy. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the hand size go, like talk about a fumble, like he fumbled off of a big sack from which kind of does play into what you're saying before, is like he's not picking up. Like, I don't know if it's so much. I wouldn't necessarily agree about he's holding onto the ball too long. I just don't think he's picking up blitzes as well. Like it really felt like the whole day he was under pressure, mm-hmm. at least when they dropped back to pass.
Mm-hmm.
So just a lot of the quick drop-offs really helped him. But that Jamal Adams sack was like, also like small Jamal Adams rant while I'm wearing the Jets jersey. Shout out Mark Sanchez. That's who's on the back of it.
Yes,
for anybody wondering. But
SC victory.
yes. But as far as like Jamal Adams goes, like you pretty much talk like out of like or heading into this year, you pretty much promote yourself as the best player in the league, and then you also are one of the worst safeties. But then you also get 2 sacks and a fumble. So he is a linebacker playing safety. It's like kind of going into the last season of NCAA Road to Glory, where you just want to get sacks and you don't really care about all the passes you miss playing
Right.
zone coverage, where you just want to get the sacks. And I think he's just playing Road to Glory in his head.
I honestly, I think he's hurt. I think he's playing hurt right now, and that's why he's performing the way he's performing. Because if you look at the game on Sunday, there was he got when he went into the locker room because he got hurt, and he came back out, and wasn't he hurt? Like, wasn't his calf or his groin something like that hurting before? And like he just recently came back from that. Like the dude's hurt. You can tell by the way he's playing, he's hurt. Now, Grant, I completely agree with you where he's not playing the position the way he usually plays it. He's doing some hybrid stuff that we're not really known for him being that hybrid with his play, but I honestly believe he's hurt. I think he's hurt. And as for the Seahawks, like, is it gonna be a crash if they keep getting hurt? Yeah, I really do. I really do think because they got no running game. You got to remember Chris Carson's out, and so is I forgot the other homeboy's name.
Precise?
No. God, what is his name, dude?
I'm blanking.
I'm blanking too. It's Chris Carson, and it's another. Oh my God, dude!
I just remember, at least that last game, they featured primarily Alex Collins.
Well, they had to because the last guy they had, they didn't have anybody else. But yeah, I mean it. For them, they need to get like their defensive guys healthy. They need to get their runners healthy, and they need to play. They're letting Russ cook too much, and it was cool for like a couple weeks, but now it's like teams understand. It's like it's Russ or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So teams are going after him now. Teams are starting to hit the line, set, blitz, and everything. So he's got to get his runners back. Once he gets his runners back, then they can control the time. They can control the game. And then eventually you open up that pass or let Russ cook when he needs to cook, the last 3 minutes or so, and not for 48, 50 minutes or however long a football game is.
Yeah. Well, also a great part about what the Rams did, and I don't know if it's so much, the Rams played great, or their secondary looked phenomenal. I know Darius Williams had 2 picks, but
look, man,
he only had 2 catches in the game. And I think one of his first targets came at the end of the 3rd quarter. So imagine 3 quarters without any targets to one of the best receivers in the league, and a guy that people are comparing to Megatron for the 4th coming of his career. So that was incredible the way they were able to stop that. So there is a little bit of Russ cooking too much. There's the classic too many cooks in the kitchen. But as far as it goes, shout out the Rams secondary.
Yeah, I'm loving that, man.
I would it is kind of funny, leaving the Chargers and USC. It's like, I don't want to see what happens next week. But with the Rams, this was a 100% momentum building game.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
100%. Now it's like, okay, there is something here. I definitely think the Rams could be one of the top 3 teams in the NFC.
Right. I believe so too. With that defense, it's great. Tampa Bay's coming up, so that's going to be a great game against us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, moving into our last one before we head out of here, I don't know if many of y'all saw the boxing events this past Saturday. Bud Crawford, of course, taking the victory in the main event. But the thing we're going to go through right now is that controversial decision by the Athletic Commission on the Franco versus Moloney fight. For me, I was watching it live as it was happening. Not once did I ever see a clash of heads. Not once. And unfortunately, our boxing insider, due to some personal stuff, he couldn't be here today, and he'd explain it to you. I mean, there was no headbutt anywhere, no clash of heads anywhere. And if anybody knows boxing, a clash of heads is never going to do that to your eye. You're going to get cut before you even get a swelling to happen like that to you. So that was a straight jab thumb area to the eye. That's what got it. They looked at it 9 different angles, 9 different ways, and somehow they just couldn't come up with the correct decision. And it's messed up for Moloney because to the way boxers have to do it now, you have to quarantine to be in a training camp, so you can no longer be like, okay, I'm in a training camp and then I'm gonna go home. So he's separated from his family for weeks, months, getting ready for this fight. Comes in, puts an illegal punch onto the dude, and gets robbed. And it was just disgusting. What do you think about it?
Yeah, somebody who's probably like literally the last fight I watched was McGregor and Mayweather. So let's put that.
Oh, man, that was years ago.
But like literally, as a complete stranger and outsider to the sport, how does this happen? Like I feel like an idiot. Where it's like, am I dumb, or is this one of those things where they're dumber than me? I mean, it is a competition of the idiots, the competition of incompetence.
My God.
So, but then it was insane seeing that they went to the wow, I was about to say a football term, went to the booth, but they went to the booth for 23 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's what they came up with.
Yeah.
That is just completely insane to me. So it is funny. Just going with like all sports, just in all cylinders, you're like, oh, well, there's only bad refs in this, bad refs and bad umpires in baseball, bad refs in NBA, in the NBA and NFL and college football. Yeah. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah, so, it is.
I mean, I guess my question is, how often does a call this blatant happen? Is this like a once in a lifetime, or is this
in boxing? Oh man. Boxing wouldn't be anything without controversial calls, man. It's in its DNA. You're gonna have that no matter what. But it's when you have controversial calls, it should be like towards a decision, like with the cards when you're at the end of the fight, that type of way. But when it should not be when an HD clear image in 9 or 10 different angles for 25 freaking minutes, and that's the decision you came up on, a no contest, when it was clear as day the dude got punched, fight should have been over, Moloney should have won, and then make the third fight. What's wrong with giving Moloney the belt and now making the third fight? Now Franco can easily be like, I don't have to take this fight. I don't have to fight him anymore. Or he can play the weight game with Moloney and wait till he gets a little older or a little slower or whatever, which is, I mean, it's great. It's great strategy by Franco if he does do that. But I mean, people aren't going to want to see his next fight. They're going to want to see that Moloney fight again. They want to see him get in there and do that. And he can. I don't know if you saw the first Moloney fight against him, but Franco put Moloney in the hospital with 2 busted eardrums, a concussion. He had to be stretchered out of the ring, and then he had to be in the hospital in ICU for 3 days with concussion protocols because he got beat. So Franco can put it to him, but just this, it just wasn't right. It wasn't right. But before we go, I know our producer is gonna get upset, but before we go, we have to talk about that catch, man. What do you think about that catch?
I mean, there are there are certain plays of the year where you will see it till you literally get sick of it. So I feel like last year, I think it was Lamar against the Bengals, where with the spin move that got completely twisted and turned and just made 3 Bengals swerve. And then the year before that, it was the Derrick Henry 99-yard touchdown run against the Jags. So this is going to be one of those plays where I'm not even that excited because I'm like, okay, well now I'm going to get sick of this. Now I'm going to get sick of this because you won't have, well, even like, okay, there's one thing, it's the catch, but also, what the other thought I had was like, okay, this is the reason why Kyler Murray is the first overall pick. Because I just feel like out of all the quarterbacks in the league that would be able to do that, spin away and not running towards the arm side of the field, like he's the one. Like I don't know if there's any other guys who'd be able to do the same thing.
Seeing what you're seeing from Kyler Murray right now, and seeing what you're seeing from God, forgot it, Baltimore, from guy from Baltimore,
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. There you go. I'm sorry, man. I'm blanking out. Seeing what you're seeing from Lamar Jackson, what you've seen so far, and seeing what you've seen from Kyler Murray so far, I'm going to say this. I think Kyler Murray's going to have the better stats, the better career when it's all over. What do you think?
I don't know. It's really hard to say because I actually do like so. I mean, yeah, granted, nobody wants to hear about your fantasy team, but Lamar was on my fantasy team last year, and I legitimately thought he was the greatest quarterback in the world. That he was going to be one of like a true game-changing quarterback. Where if you want a quarterback, you want to make an offense, you have to make it around a player like this. You have to have a QB run things like the way Lamar does, and I still have a lot. Like it is a little bit biased, but because he's just the coolest dude ever. Like I'd say personality wise, like he's a fun guy. Like whatever about him, like it's the gravelly voice.
Yeah, he looks like a cool dude.
Smiling, and I love the chain, the big bear chain. I think that's sick. So, as far as drip goes, you got to give the upper hand to Lamar.
Oh yeah.
As far as career goes, I think I'm still going to see Lamar.
Really?
Because I want to see what it's like for the rest of the year. But I know we're like the stock for Lamar has never been lower, especially after losing to the Patriots.
Right.
So I think he is one of those guys that's slave to a good running game. But I hope he's not because when he's on, he's by far the most exciting player to watch. 100%. I'd rather watch him cook versus Kyler Murray cook.
I honestly, I used to think that last year, but now watching Kyler Murray play this year, because I've seen, I think, about 4 of their games or 5 of their games. Dude, the kid can ball, and he is accurate. He is way more accurate than Lamar Jackson is. Right now, he is. He's making passes that Lamar Jackson at the moment is struggling to make. Like for me, yes, Lamar's taller. Lamar is probably faster. I don't know about that.
I'd say so.
You think so?
I think if they were in a 40, I think Lamar is faster.
Did you see the quickness though that he was doing yesterday? I mean, the kid is, I don't know, man. Kyler Murray to me, there's an MVP in his future for sure. I truly believe that, especially now that he's got DeAndre Hopkins. But just wait till he gets an actual running back, just like an actual dude in the back that can back him up. Kid's gonna be amazing, man. He really is.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, because then there's the other side where Lamar doesn't have one of the. I mean, D Hop's the top 3 receiver in the league for the past 5 years. So it's like,
yeah,
it is a battle of the either ors because that's kind of one thing, or it's a great, or I would say it's a great factor that a lot of people say is that Lamar does not have that wide receiver 1. Like he does not have that guy.
Yeah, I can give you that. I can give you that. Definitely. All right, man. Well, this is the end of our show. There's another edition of the Hot Corner. Matt, thanks again for being here. Hopefully our boxing insider can be here next week. Guys, signing off. Thanks a lot.